So welcome to the Six Figure Staffing Startup Formula Live webinar. My name is Dee Williams. I am super duper excited to be here with you to talk to you about starting your very own niche recruitment and staffing agency business. There are so many ideas you can do with your business, and I'm here to get you amped up about the idea, show you how much you can make, what the business is all about, and then we're going to talk specifically about a niche and show you some real live numbers around that niche and what you can do in this business and some ideas of how you can grow that type of business. And that's in the area of sales and marketing. So, woo, that's going to be pretty exciting. So we're going to get started. And first things first, and I got to kind of move this over a little bit. I just want to let you guys know that I like to put this disclaimer out here, and I want to put it out here for anyone who is thinking about this opportunity in a very serious manner. Okay, this is not a get rich quick scheme. Okay, it's not MLM, it's not get rich quick. I don't mind, I love those things, but that is what this business is not. This business is for people who are looking to start a real business. Okay, so this is not something that you start and you see an immediate return on your investment. You have to plant seeds and then see your investment as they grow. If you're looking for something quicker, this may not be the right opportunity for you. But if you're looking for a real business where you're really impacting people's lives and you are, expending some really amazing energy yourself, and you're able to leave a legacy for your children and to live the type of lifestyle you want, this is a great business opportunity. And I want to talk to you a little bit about it. All right. Now we're on fire. That's me. My name is Dee Williams. I consider myself to be the #1 recruitment staffing and trainer coach. But I consider myself also to be a business and lifestyle strategist, because one of my superpowers is that I can kind of see ideas, and I enjoy talking about them, and I enjoy helping people build their ideas out. Some people say I'm the queen of recruitment and staffing. I have placed thousands of people and as a contract recruiter for companies such as Lockheed Martin, Fannie Mae, Home Depot, Apple, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Cisco, Bank of America, plus a lot of other companies. I broke a ton of placement records working for a number of staffing agencies across the country. I've had my own 7-figure staffing agency business. I am creating a number of 5-6-figure staffingpreneurs right now, and I want to talk to you about how to do this business. Now, I wanted to just give you some feedback about me, or just a little bit of information about my background, so you'll know why I'm talking about this business, how I know the business works. And I've worked in the industry of staffing. I've worked in HR. I've also worked as my own business owner. And so I've seen many different dynamics as this business. And I've also been the candidate in some of these dynamics. So I have had the unique opportunity to see things from many different facets. And so I'm going to share what works and what doesn't. Okay, so how does this business work? Many people have their own idea about how they think this business works. And I'm here to tell you that, anything that you're thinking now, just crush it, because it can happen in so many different ways. A typical way, which I'm going to show you right now, it looks like this. ABC company has a job opening. That's requested by a hiring manager, meaning a hiring manager, director of, VP of, has a job opening. The staffingpreneur has a network of applicants. You're the staffingpreneur and you have a network of applicants. The hiring manager at the company and you, the staffingpreneur, meet. You guys create a partnership so that you can get those jobs filled, okay? So once you create that partnership and you sign that contract, then you go out and you start searching for the top best five candidates that you can find for that position, right? You're going to submit between 3 to 5. You're going to go on, you're going to screen people, you're going to evaluate these people, and only the best people will you, staffingpreneur, introduce to the hiring manager. Okay, then that hiring manager and that candidate are going to meet through an interview process, which could look like so many different things, right? It could be a phone interview. It could be an in-person interview, one-on-one. It can be a group interview. with the candidate. So it could be any type of way, but they're going to meet, right? And they're going to talk, and they're going to evaluate each other, and they're going to attempt to understand the expectations of their new relationship. And then they're going to walk away, and they're both going to call you and tell you what that answer was. And based on that answer, that will determine whether that hiring manager will make an offer for that candidate to work into that business, or whether that hiring manager does not want to work. And it could be the other way around. It could be that the candidate doesn't want to work in that business, but they have to agree. If they agree, the process starts over with the next job. If they disagree, this particular job starts over again, right? You gain more understanding of what was missing, what went wrong, and you start the process over again. Now, that's just the typical way that business can come in, that this can start, that this can happen. It could also be that, that business can start in many different ways. What I'm trying to say. It could be another candidate friend. It could be a referral. It could be, the hiring manager. It can be so many different things. But this is a basic model of how the business works. Now, I get a question, and I don't know if I should just go into it now. I get a question because people, when they see this and they say, oh, the company has requested a job order, has a job order, now I have the job order, I can start looking for candidates. And I think that's great. But I want you to make sure you notice the second line here that says the staffingpreneur has a network of applicants. You shouldn't be talking to hiring managers if this is your first time in this business and you do not have a job order already on the table or potential on the table. You shouldn't be talking to hiring managers until you've already established some relationships with some candidates. You've got to have something to sell, right? Or you see what I'm saying? You want to have kind of your pipeline. You want to at least know someone in the business. You're not so much of a newbie. Right? You've gotten your feet wet a little bit. You can feel yourself a little bit. Have a little confidence while you're having those conversations. Now, if you are coming into this business because you have someone who's giving you a job order or they're giving you business, that's another thing. You can already walk in a little bit cocky and yes, you may work a little reactive, but it's brand new. You're already in it and you take the information and you run with it. But if you have an opportunity to really build this business out right, then you definitely want to connect with your applicants first. Okay. I just want to make that clear with strategy. And we talk about that during the boot camp and in the training classes. Okay. So you can start, grow this business with your friends in an office, with your friends virtually, by yourself at home, in a virtual space. I have a virtual space, and then I have my home office that I use. So, you and I have other businesses that we're partners. We're all over the United States, right? So this is a business that you can be very flexible with, okay? All right, let me make sure I have my water on here. In 1 second. Okay. All right, great. Now, some folks ask about the startup cost. So I'll tell you right now, your startup costs are going to be somewhere between $1,000 and $100,000, right? Now, that's your startup cost depending on your preferences, right? Depending on your time, your flexibility to build your business. Some people started on a budget of $500. Where they built their own website and they did their own business card design and they did everything, everything. They only spent money for the most minute things, right? Everything else they did on their own, but they had the time. They were willing to invest the time to do that. Some people outsourced a portion of that, so they had a larger budget. So the startup cost is always going to depend on your budget. If I say that, to legalize the business is typically not more than $500. I think it's like $300 or less to legalize the business. And then you get your minor basics, you're talking $500. Then you have to decide how you want your website to look. Do I want to outsource it? Do I want to, spend my money via my time? By building it from ground up. So some people enjoy that and they have the flexibility and the freedom to do that, and that's okay. Okay, so that's your preference. That's your, hold on one second. I'll call it this. Okay, great. Now, how much money can you make? That totally depends on you. Okay, so there are two business models. You have your bottom line and you have your residual. Your bottom line is like your one-time checks. You get them based on your placement fee. So whatever the candidate's salary is, you get a percentage of that fee. And I'm going to show you what that looks like through the sales and marketing niche. And that was specifically requested by some of the folks that are here in the six-figure staffing startup group. The other business model is the residual. The residual is where you get weekly checks or monthly checks, right? So and it's always based on the number of hours that that person has worked. So for every hour that person works, you get paid. So that's and then I'll show you how that looks as well, because that's your residual, and that's some pretty money right there. Cobina Brothers in the house. I apologize. He's like, wait, brothers in the house. I just caught that. Okay. All right. So good. So I just want to make sure, and put your questions in the box so that I can address anything that you have right now. Okay. So why this industry? You're going to love this. So companies aren't finding the right people to fill the jobs, to put into those jobs. That's why this industry. Okay, why this industry? America has roughly 5.8 million jobs right now. Okay, 7.9 million people are unemployed, and there are 6 million part-time workers who want full-time jobs. And that's that's not included in the 7.9 million people that are unemployed. So there's another 6 million, right, who's interested in working in a full-time job. And those numbers do not add up. Can I get a hello? The numbers don't add up, right? So the question is how and why. Okay, so listen. Is everybody following me so far? Do y'all understand the severity in this? That America has roughly 5.8 million job openings right now, and 7.9 million people are unemployed. And why the niche recruitment and staffing business is the way. It's like the hottest thing right now. Why? So much opportunity. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name properly. He's laughing at me. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about some of the problems that we're having right now in the economy. Employers can't find skilled workers for the job they need. This is what you call a skills gap. And it's one of the biggest challenges that they're having. Now, some people in the industry say, hey, D, it's not a skills gap going on right now. That, there are definitely enough people. Employers are just super duper picky. And I would agree with that to some degree. Employers are super duper duper picky even when the market doesn't allow for them to be super duper picky. But at the same time, notice the word skilled workers for the jobs. So what is the population of these people that are unemployed? What areas are they unemployed? Is it in the areas of the jobs where we have all the openings, right? Or is it, people who are working in skill sets where there's an overflow of work? So I think those are things that we'll look at in a moment or so. But it makes you start thinking about what type of challenges are we really dealing with from an economic perspective. And understand, you get into this business not because of the money that you can make, and there's a ton of money for you to make. But you don't get into this business because of the money that you can make. You get into this business because you have an opportunity to solve a major challenge that will impact the lives of our children, that will impact the lives of our future generations. And that's serious business. And I know some people are like, no, D, I'm just getting into it to make the money. But no, you want to do a little bit more than that, because then you know that you're solving a problem. All right. Another issue they say that, another thing they say is that's an issue as to why this industry would be great for you to get into. Experts say the job training programs in the U.S. remain lackluster compared to the country's global peers in Europe and Asia. This is from money.com. Some employers are arguably raising the bar too high. They want employees who won't require any job training, immediate satisfaction. They want people that can come in the door running, like immediately. And so a lot of the people who are being presented to the hiring managers, they need training, right? Okay. So far this year, for every job opening, about 30 people apply on average. Of those applicants, less than 20% meet the qualifications for the job, according to the Corporate Executive Board, a research group. That's crazy. You hear me? That is insane. So here, I hope you guys feel that entrepreneurial energy flowing through this communication. Like, for real, I hope you feel it, because do you see the opportunity? That's the question that I have for you right now. Do you see the opportunity in this business? Okay. And if you're not watching, let's see, I'm just going to show you really quickly. This is this presentation. And if you go to sixfigurestaffing.com, you can get in registered so you can see the actual presentation. So I'm just showing you that. And that was for the Facebook Live group that's watching. That's in, if everyone's in the Facebook. Okay, great. Now, why this industry? It's so much I want to tell you, but I don't want to tell you too much, but I want to tell you so much. I want you to walk away empowered with information. So my brain is going a million miles an hour. There's so many things I want to say, so bear with me. Okay, so companies aren't finding the right people to fill the jobs. Economic challenge. Vacant jobs can cost companies hundreds of dollars a day in lost profits. Research shows that, and ultimately, the job skills gap hurts America's economic growth, which is one of the things that I was just talking about right now. And here we're at a time where we have a presidential election going on. One of the key topics that we're talking about is jobs, right? And the economic growth. And we need to be looking at, what each candidate's platform is around jobs and how our business fits into that model of what's going to be or what is or what have you. So that's super duper important that you start looking at that, especially if you want to get serious about this business. That election always determines how the flow of this industry operates, just like in any other industry. All right. Your profit and legacy. Companies pay up to 40% on a candidate's first year salary and up to 43% gross profit margin on hourly positions. So it's a very lucrative industry. We have major challenge in the industry. The niche is your key. The network is your key. The people that you have in your network are key. The people that they are seeing or that they're getting that are just applying are not the fit. The people who they're hired their staff to go out and get are not necessarily doing the job 100% right, or the positions wouldn't still be open, right? That leaves opportunity for you to go in with your network. And the more people that you know in your network and within your particular niche, the more valuable your business becomes, the more valuable you become, right? And now you put yourself in a position to where maybe somebody may want to purchase you, right? Or maybe you purchase your business, ask to purchase your business, or maybe you can grow at a faster rate, or maybe you can open more than one office or go international, whatever the case may be. All right. I'm getting excited. Y'all feel that energy. I'm just getting really excited. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the power of the niche. Okay. All right. Because the niche is what sets everything apart. When I used to do this live webinar and I would get people excited and I would say the niche would make you rich. And it was an exciting experience and we used to get really, pumped up. But I don't want people to join based on the finances, because I want you to have, your skin, you're thick in the skin in the thick, your skin in the game. I don't know how to say that, but I want you to understand that this is a business that you're going to have to put time and energy. It's a real live business. You're playing in a powerhouse industry. I'm just showing you how to get into this industry. But it's a business that you want to take serious. It's not something that you do on the side, just like a little MLM. It's something that you are really building a strong foundational legacy for you and your family. And that's why this niche is so important, because if you have a good network, if you have a good niche and a good network, you can add other niches on, or you can duplicate all over the place. You can do so much stuff, right? So your niche is important. And then you're not so much competition to the big guys either. If you focus solely on a niche, you're that company that each company has that in their back pocket. Like, oh, I know if I need a good Java developer, I know I can call such and such, right? You know what I'm talking about? You know, you have that one vendor or that one store that when you get down to that, you're like, okay, I know I can call on them, or I know I can count on them. That's who you become as that niche person. And after a while, they only call on you. They'll start to ask you, well, can you find me this person? Can you find me that? Because now they see your value. You're showing more and more and more value. Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. That's yes. Ones. Give me a one. Yes, something. Tell me. Does that make sense? Literally. I'm asking. They're like, yeah, D. Okay. Everybody can hear me. Yes. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Somebody's alive on this call. Okay, great. All right, awesome. We got a ton of people here, but y'all are quiet. All right. So the power of the niche. Okay, so among work. So now listen, I'm not going to read all of this, but I do want to just kind of give you some ideas around your niche, right? So I put some statistics on here from the department, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And they talked about the major worker groups of the unemployed, right? So they said Hispanics increased 6.4% in September, adult men 4.7%, adult women 4.4%, teenagers were 15.8%, whites 4.4%, blacks 8.3%, and Asians 3.9% showed little or no change. My goal for you is to find a solution and create your niche. You understand? So if you see that the unemployment rate is higher for blacks and Hispanics, start a diversity, niche staffing business and an area. And we'll talk about some great niches that you can do, but start pushing the diversity model in your business so that you're giving back to that portion of the community. You can do different things like that. I'm just giving you ideas about how your niche can be very powerful. And you can say, I only focus on placing diverse project managers. And you can target companies who have lack of diversity and show them that here you're the solution to that diversity challenge that they're having right now. And in some industries, it is a government requirement for them to have a number of diverse vendors or a number of diverse employees, even both of those actually. And so you can become a very resourceful partner for them. Okay, so just throwing ideas out. Professional and business services employment rose by 67% in September and has risen 582,000 over the year. Over the month, jobs gains occurred in management and tech consulting. So the idea is to kind of look at the industries to see, where growth is and where there's loss and start creating strategies around your niche. Okay. Now, and key things that I want to talk to you today in regards to this niche as you're starting to plan in this business. In order for you to understand the value of a niche, you must look at a number of factors. This is so key for you right now. Okay. Number one, how much money are you working with right now? Number two, how much capital do you have immediate access to? And number three, how much effort are you ready to put in? Now, depending on how you answer these questions will determine what type of niche you want to start this business in, what part of this space you want to be in. Hold on, I'm going to give some water. Okay, so we're talking about the tale of the three worlds. So let's talk about how recruitment and staffing is broken down so that you can understand what niche area you want to get into. So just stay with me because this is all going to make sense. Okay. Hey, Ronaldo. Okay, so commercial. So you have three areas. You have commercial staffing, professional solutions staffing, and executive search and interim staffing. Okay. So in your commercial space, it's more of your blue collar jobs. These are like your 59 and K under jobs, okay, and salary. You're talking warehouse, industrial, clerical, customer service, medical. We consider those to be somewhat of, and these are not hardcore terms, but these are more commercial, more focuses on the blue collar jobs. Whereas if your professional solutions focuses on your white collar jobs, your white collar jobs are typically 60K and over. The niche is typically in information technology, healthcare IT, maybe a high-end executive support, project managers, program managers, engineers. So people you typically see behind a desk or that are doing a skill set that is high and where you have to have a lot of knowledge. Okay, I couldn't think of a way to say that other than that. All right. Executive search and interim staffing is your high ends, or what you call your high end. So you have commercial is kind of like, and as I say this in the most positive way, it's kind of like your Walmart. Professional solutions is like your Macy's. And your executive search is like your Accenture or maybe American Express. Okay, so like more high. So I hope that makes sense on kind of how the niche, how the industry is kind of segmented out. And there's a couple of other segments, but for someone coming in like you, the 1, 2, 3 man firm, this is kind of the space that you want to play in, I would presume. Okay, so your white collar jobs, executive search, 150K typically happens on a direct hire basis. More than an interim, we say interim staffing because that could be like an interim CEO, an interim CFO, somebody who's there to fix a problem and bring somebody new on who's going to handle that challenge or that position on a consistent basis. Those hourly rates are massive. Professional solutions, they can go from small to large. From commercial, they typically stay very small, and it's all based on volume. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Your commercial model is what we consider to be a high volume, low margin model, which means in order for you to see the level of success that you want to see in your business financially and in growth, you would have to place a lot of people. Okay, you would have to place a lot of people, and because your margins are going to be really small, you may make $3, $4, $5 an hour off of every candidate. Whereas if you get into professional solutions and executive search, and your spread is a lot wider, you make a lot more money. Okay, so your commercial staffing, you have your high volume, low margin. This one, on this space, typically your insurance costs are a lot higher. Okay, so high risk, higher insurance costs. You're going to typically spend more hours and lots of effort into this business model. You're dealing with volume. So, of course, you're going to need a staff. You're going to need an office. It's big returns in volume business, but it is a hefty, big business, right? And your startup costs are medium to high from the beginning. If you want to go into those areas, the insurance costs are very expensive sometimes. So you want to make sure you have, and a lot of funding companies won't fund some of those areas, right? So you would have to be able to cover your own insurance. And your own payroll and different things like that. So commercial staffing, you really want to have some money up front. And if you do, that's great. And you want to go in that space, that's great. I just want to let you know kind of what you're getting into. But when you're starting to think about your niche, okay? When you're starting to think about your niche. Now, your professional solutions, on the other hand, is your low volume, high margin, which means you may not place as many people as fast as you do with the commercial staffing, but when you do, you're going to make a crap load of money because your margin is a lot higher, because the hourly rate is a lot higher. In the professional solutions, the direct hire rate is typically a little bit higher, right? In commercial, they're going to always lowball you 10, 15% for placements, where professional solutions you can go from 15 to 27, 29% I've seen lately, even in some instances, okay? So keep that in mind. Lots of potential for growth in professional solutions, and rapidly. You can go pretty quickly depending on the relationships that you develop with your candidates and your clients. The startup costs are low to high. So again, it really depends on your preference and what you want your business to have, what your budget is, what it looks like for you. The time that you have to put in. It's not going to be as much as it would be on commercial staffing, but you're still going to have to put in a decent amount of time. This is a business you're building, right? You're creating a business. So you're still going to have to put that time in no matter what. Payroll funding. To get payroll funding for this niche is really, really, really easy. Except for RNs, I'm finding not to be so easy. But it really, I'm glad I see a question coming in. Y'all was so quiet. But you can really get in really easy. You can really get payroll funding really easy. I have a question here. If you do both commercial and professional, can you create a niche with that, or is it too widespread? No, it's not too widespread. As long as you can afford the startup, it doesn't matter. You know, if you wanted to do like customer service and or I don't know, warehouse, maybe you want to do warehouse, and so I wouldn't do something like warehouse and IT. Like, they kind of sort of don't go together unless your niche in IT is something that has to deal with technology for warehouses. Like, that's the only way I would do. And then I would do that position only with a warehouse. Like, so it just depends, I guess, on what the two niches are. They should make sense and kind of work for each other and work with each other, if that makes sense. I don't know if I've said that before, but if you're going to do 2 or 3 niches, you want them to ultimately talk to each other so that you're constantly circulating that energy in your business, so you can go through each company and they can support each other, and you can, like, create strategy around it. Does that make sense, Leslie? Create a strategy. Do you have to have insurance if you're doing all direct hire placement? You won't have to have that type of insurance, not to the magnitude. I always suggest that a company has some type of general liability insurance, just to CYA. But so yes, I would say just basic general insurance for your company in the event that a direct hire candidate, something happens at the interview location. Like, maybe he goes ham and starts throwing stuff and breaking stuff and like goes crazy, and then the company wants to sue you, then you'll have something like that. That hardly ever happens, but with the way things are going right now, you never really know. So I would definitely have some type of insurance like that, just like some liability or what have you, but you won't need all the other insurance. We have them in the academy. We have a whole list of them in the academy and in the manual, and you can pull them out there if you want to see who we recommend. Yep, definitely. That's an excellent question. Both of those were excellent questions. Leslie, did I answer your question as well? I hope I did. Let me just check on YouTube. Okay, good. All right, awesome. You're so welcome. All right, so you're easy to get funding. Factoring and funding is very easy. Getting your back office is easy. It's easy to get insurance in most instances. The only time it gets kind of weird, some of the engineering positions, some of the healthcare positions, they have a little more risk around them, which may bring on an additional insurance, and so you've got to ask. You've got to talk to the payroll funding companies and kind of find out, based on the position that you're trying to support, whether or not they'll support that in the insurance. But for the most part, of professional solutions is pretty easy. This is really what I like to teach, because you'll see the faster results from that perspective. Also, you have executive search. Executive search is probably the easiest one from the perspective of getting the business up and going. This is what I would consider more of the lifestyle type of business. And when I say lifestyle, I don't know what I just did. Like, I have a new Mac mouse for everyone who's watching. I did something to the content, and I don't know what I did. Oh, okay, good. I was gonna say, this is more of a lifestyle business. When I'm talking about lifestyle, I mean like really taking it on the road with you and just kind of living like a nomad, like how I wish or how I pray to do or hope to do when my daughter goes to college, and you just travel with your business and you create the rules for your business and put some personality in your business. And that one is really for my folks that are, I say metrosexuals that are very, very well networked, like they're always at a party. Everybody knows them. They're socialites, Those are the folks that do very well in executive search, that are well maintained from top to bottom. They put their own little gist on it, and they go, and those are the ones that make millions. I mean, they get out there because they take it seriously. You see a lot of people in the LGBT community that are really doing well in executive search as well. So I've seen a couple of husband and wife duos do really good in executive search. Typically, your funding is going to be very, very easy because executives are typically behind the desk, right? So they're typically under that easygoing workman's comp code. So that'll make things a little bit easy for you. So that gives you kind of an idea of how the industries are set up, and I want to and the level of complexity that it takes for you to start that business, right? The level of complexity that it takes for you to start that business, okay? So commercial staffing, professional solutions, executive search, all right? That's where we're going, because this is where the niche is going to come from. When we talk today, we're talking all professional solutions. Why? Because in professional solution staffing, you cover contract to hire, and direct hire, okay? And you can do executive search if you want, right? But it's a little bit different than commercial. Commercial is like temp to perm. It's a lower margin. The word temp kind of, what's the word I'm looking? It lowers the value of the person. As a matter of fact, a study went out recently where people said they did not like to be called temps. But your commercial side, your blue collar, they're considered temps. I like to keep people in the professional solutions space because the margins are higher, the salaries are higher, the people are, I don't want to say easier. You have less instances of weed, drug activity on the job, or inappropriateness with the women and different things like that than you do in the professional solutions. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just difference in the environment that the people are working, right? Things are a little bit different. So it's the horror stories are on both sides of the people that you can meet and deal with. There are horror stories on the professional solutions. There are horror stories on the commercial. They're just different types of horror stories. It's corporate criminal, whatever criminal. So it's just different. So, and not everybody's a criminal, but more people than you know are criminals. So just kind of keep that in mind. Just being real with you about what you're getting into. So we're talking about professional solutions. Y'all are getting like a real personality tonight, like real, like Bundy. Okay. She said, you answered my next question. I have done both, but I love commercial too. Laugh out loud. But you're right. Commercial is volume. Commercial is definitely volume. And it's definitely a different ball game. It's more hand holding. It's more, even your shift, your availability is going to be different a lot of times in commercial because it's like you are giving a temp service. Whereas if on the professional solutions, you're doing contract. Contract means that it's scheduled in advance. Temp could mean I'm available in the next 2 hours. I'm filling in for somebody immediately. So it's kind of a difference, if that makes sense. It's kind of a difference. And a lot of people aren't even aware of that difference, but it really is. So we're going to focus on professional solutions. We're focusing on sales and marketing in professional solutions. And we're going to talk a little bit about still talking about this niche, right? And how important it is to the way the business is designed. At least the foundational piece of the business is designed. Now, understand your ability to compete with the larger staffing agencies is always going to depend on your niche network. All right. This is why I'm going so hard about the niche. It's always going to depend on your niche network. So let's look at some of the industries, some of the niche areas you can get into when you're talking about sales and marketing. Now, understand that sales and marketing is an industry within many industries. In this first column, we're looking at consulting sales. The base salary, $120K to $250. Consumer packaged goods sales, CPG. That's a totally different industry. Okay. Base salary, $150 to $180K. Then we have digital media sales. That's a totally different industry. That's $170 to $180K. Then we've got software sales. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you start talking about a niche, if you say, I'm just going to focus on sales and marketing, oh my gosh, there are like so many different things out there. Do you really want to focus completely on sales and marketing? Or do you want to find 1, 2, or 3 key positions that maybe report to each other, or that maybe work next to each other or compete with each other? Like, create a strategy about how you really want this business to be a force to be reckoned with in this industry. Do not create the D Williams version or the Staffingpreneurs Academy's version. Use the information and the ideas that are being presented to you to create your version. Hello. Can I get a hello? Do you feel that? Because that's the important piece. That's how this business works. If you're trying to create a duplicate of something, you can't go, you don't see people out there creating Apple all over again. You don't see people out there, they're creating their own version. You've got to create your own version of your staffing agency business. Okay. Because I get fired up. Y'all know I get fired up for real. Like, okay. So, startup business development. Okay. That base salary is $150K. Now, we're going to show the numbers in a minute, but I want you to start thinking, when we're talking about high-end positions like this, you can charge as much as 25 up to 35, maybe even 40% of the candidate's first year salary. So we're going to start looking at some of these numbers to see what they equate to. But I want you to start thinking about, jot down some of the titles, do some research to see what the positions entail. If you're thinking about sales and marketing being your niche for your niche recruitment and staffing agency business, do the research to see if this is exactly where you want to be. Okay. So you've got telecommunications sales, which is hot. Medical device sales. They didn't have hardware, IT hardware. Hardware sales are really, really, really popular as well. International marketing. When we talk about marketing, we have an international marketing executive, top channel development executive. Those are $280, $260K a year. Top marketing executive, $244K. Top research executive, $193. Marketing director, $152. E-commerce marketing director, $148K. Database marketing manager, $97K. Now, these are only on the high end. So we haven't even talked about the positions that are from the 60K to 100K. We haven't talked about the positions in this area either that are from, I won't say zero, but, your low end to your 59K. So as you can see, there are options. There are many different positions that you can support. Thank you, Soma, for that high five. I appreciate you, Leslie, as well. Okay, so I just want you to start opening up your mind. If you're doing a marketing, so I only focus on executive marketing positions, or I only focus on marketing positions that are in the e-commerce sector. So I focus on e-marketing directors, e-commerce managers, and e-commerce specialist. You know, that's my niche. I focus on e-commerce marketing. I focus on e-commerce marketing in the finance industry. I focus on e-commerce marketing in the finance industry in Chicago, New York, and LA. Hot diggity dang, you got a niche. Did you hear that? Did you see kind of how that flowed? Like, you know, start pinpointing what you want your niche to look like, and then you can grow it out. But you start off small and then you grow it out. You start off small and then you grow it out. If you're a 1 or 2 man firm, you don't have to start off full blown. You can start off small and penetrate an area and grow your name and your brand out gradually. It's called organic growth. In politics, they call it grassroots. Y'all don't hear me tonight. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. I'm giving you some good stuff here. Okay. All right. So there are two ways that you can get paid in this business. Okay. We talked about it earlier. We talked about your perm and your contract. Your perm is your bottom line money. Your contract is your residual. We're going to take a look at the calculator right now, really quickly. Let's take a look at the calculator. Hold on. I want to show you some funds. I want to show you kind of how these numbers that we just talked about, we just showed you these numbers. And I want to show you, oh no, my screen is hiding. Okay, here it is. I want to show you what that would look like for your business, what type of revenue you could bring in. Because if you're serious about starting this business, you want to know what's the income potential, right? And I want you to know what the income potential is. Hold on, let me make sure I'm getting all questions. Hey, all my YouTubers are in. Okay, great. So, all right. So first we're going to talk about, and I'm going to open this up here just a little bit and make it a tad bit bigger so you can kind of see the yearly income here. We're looking at the direct hire and what we can do on the direct hire side, okay? Here, we saw that some of the salaries, one of the salaries that we looked at was a consulting sales, base salary $120K to $250K. So let's go in and we're just going to type in $120K. This is the easiest way to stack. If you don't want to deal with payroll or have a payroll funding company and you just wanted to do your $1, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million and direct hire only, you can do it. You don't have to do contract. That's only if you want. There are bigger returns on contract. But if you don't want to do contract, you don't have to. You can just do direct hire only. And you can, if you keep a good network and a good flow, you can have money coming in so often that you may just want to go get an office just to sit in it just because you can. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So on the direct hire side, the salary was $120,000. And let's say you charge this client a 20% fee, right? Then your check is $24,000. So that is, you know, if you're working by yourself, then it's all yours. Only thing you have to do is pay Uncle Sam, right? I would suggest that you put a portion of it back into your business for expenses and different things like that, and then just kind of pay yourself out, but know that it is yours. All right. It is 100% yours. And so it's $24,000 is what your check would be. But let's just say that that client said that was what it was. And that's what we thought we were going to make. But then when the client interviewed the candidate, it was like, oh, wow, this candidate is amazing. And actually, the candidate is asking for $250,000, and we're going to honor that at a 20% fee. Then your check would be $50,000. Okay. Now that's a big jump. That candidate would have had to rock it out, like for real. But that 50 grand would be yours. And again, naturally, I would put a number aside for me. I would say, hey, I'm paying myself as the recruiter and I'm paying myself as business development. And a portion of this is going back into the company. Right? So that you can maybe hire somebody else, or hire a salesperson so that you can focus on building your network and becoming the most networked person on the market and having the most established niche on the planet in executive or consulting sales engineers, right? Like everybody knows if you really want to get a real consulting sales engineer, you would need to call what staffing agency? BB Pro Staff. Hello. Somebody put their agency in the chat box, okay? All right. So, you have to start thinking like that. You've got to create that strategy around the business on how you want this thing to look. All right. So now that's a 20% fee. Typically, when you have a salary high in the 250 range, when you start getting into executive search, your fees are going to are going to be a little bit higher. You'll see fees around 25%, right? I can imagine a 25% or at 120K, that's a 30K check. At the 250, that fee may be a 35%. And if it's a 35% fee, then your check is $87,000. So I hope you did your work matching the what out of that candidate in that position in that company. That's a nice fat check. I have received one of those before, and I tell you, it is a kind of moment, okay? All right, so when you work hard for that, okay, it doesn't come easy unless you have a banging network. But even then, you still may have to negotiate, down to the wire. I've had to negotiate with clients' wives. No, come here, D. Let me talk to you. Let me tell you what we require in order for my husband to take this position. So sometimes they give you a sweat. They make you think they're not going to take the job, but you work it out. This is what you do in this business. This is when the business gets exciting. And you're like, man, and then when you get the check, of course you're like, and then of course staying in contact with that person after they get the job, naturally you're their best friend at that point, right? And if you do it right and you continue to stay in contact, you meet them for dinner or lunch or different things like that, then they'll start to rely on you for all their hiring, because if they're a hiring manager, then they're going to trust you because you placed them. It becomes a cycle, and you really get to build your business out in an amazing way. But people have to believe in that relationship part. Like, you really got to take that relationship, building that relationship piece like so seriously. I'm going to build my niche out. I'm going to talk to everyone in this industry that's affiliated with this. I want to talk to vendors. I want to talk to people. I want to talk to executives down, all the way down to the people who are cleaning the floors. I want to know. And I want to establish relationships with as many people as possible. It's much easier when you're a small, young firm like this. Now, over time, you'll grow and your staff will do it. But this is just you kind of planting the seeds for the way the business is going to grow over time. And then you're also creating the culture of the business that you ultimately want to have. So that's kind of super cool. Okay. Okay. I'm like just really getting into the presentation here. I got to be mindful of your time. Okay. So we looked at the 120 to 250 salary. Let's do the international marketing executive. The base salary on that one was $282. They didn't even give a range on that one. And so the placement fee at 25%, we're going to do 20% because that salary is kind of high. Your check would be $56,000. If we did the 282 at 35%, your check is $98,000. Okay. So that's a one-time fee. So if you decided tonight that your niche is going to be international marketing executives with salaries 250K over, and that you are going to reach out to every international marketing executive you could find on this planet, introduce yourself, tell them who you are, and be cocky about it. I am your secret weapon. I am connected to everyone, and whoever I'm not connected to, I'm getting connected to them. You want to know me. Like create your brand, create your business. Who are you? And what's cool about your business, or what can, I don't necessarily mean cool, and cool is fine, but what is it about your business that that encourages people to want to come and do business with you, clients and candidates? You feel what I'm saying? So, and your person, and it doesn't always have to be you personally, but you got to think about that. All right, now, so the other thing that I typically like to do is look and see, well, what if this is, now let me go back for a second. Hold on. So let me take this down for a second. That's right, Leslie. What drives you? That's exactly right. That's 100% right. So on the direct hire side, you calculate your minimum direct hire number. When I did 80,000. We've seen big numbers, so 80,000 isn't like crazy. But if you're doing a niche where the positions aren't in the 100,000s, they're like $80,000, and you did a 20%, typically you're not going to see any more than 29% on an 89,000. That's on the high end. And you can see as low as 15% on a salary like 80,000. So you're looking at a check between $12,000 and $23,000. Okay, you're looking at a check between $12,000 and $23,000. Okay, and then of course that gets lower, and so you can kind of see. So when you start thinking about your niche and what positions you want to work on in your niche, you got to think, okay, so what's the salary on that? Because that's going to determine what the hourly rate will be. That'll determine what the percentage will be that you get paid out, whether you need volume or not. Is that starting to make sense about the niche, how important it is now? Because it's going to determine the success of your business, how fast you grow, how hard you work, how easy it will be to gain the resources that you need in order to get this business off the ground right now. Okay. All right. Does that make sense? Okay. Whew. I got excited. All right. So, and I showed you the 80, and then we can go just like a little bit lower. And maybe for some of the people who are thinking the commercial space, let's say a position is 40,000, then your check is $6,000. At 15%, you're not going to see a 29% on a $40,000 fee. Remember, this is more about volume. You may get 20, maybe. That would be an $8,000 check. So again, I would encourage you to be in the professional solutions space so that your effort and your time, you'll get paid based on the effort and time that you put in. You feel what I'm saying? And you don't have to wait for the volume. You start your volume business when you've accumulated enough from the professional solutions side to where you can cover your own volume and have things done the way you want it. And you've already worked in the business and you know how it operates and different things like that. But start off with something that's going to be a little bit easier for you to see quick wins. Okay, for you to see quick wins. All right, so let me make sure no questions. Okay, great. No questions. Okay, so I'm going to go in really quickly and I'm going to look in to see, and I'm going to just show you something I would typically do when I'm putting these presentations together, or when I am calculating. I use the calculator as well, but when I'm calculating things out, one of the things that I do is that I go in and I look for, salary calculator. So you use this. I got my screen. There it is. You use this so that you can see. Okay, hold on. I like convertunits.com. I don't know why. But I do. And so you use this so you can see. So you just go in. So if you have a salary, I think one of the salaries was $282,000, right, per year. We just want to see what the hourly rate is. So they're talking about the hourly rate is between $135 and $141 an hour if they're working 2,000 hours. If they're not, or they get 2 weeks of vacation, which we don't in staffing, and they're probably not going to be working the whole year. So their hourly rate is probably going to be $141 an hour, right? So now that we understand that the hourly rate is $141 an hour, hold on. Then we're going to go back here to our calculator. Y'all see me switching screens. And we'll start looking at how the calculator is set up here. So we're going to put 141 an hour. And this, if this person is like W-2 contract, when we say W-2 contract, that means that we still pay the taxes or whatever, but they're still considered contract workers, not temp workers. I don't know why, but it's just set up that way. But you can also do it where they're their own contractor, right? And they pay all their own taxes, 1099 or corp to corp, and then the dollars change a lot, but you've got to be careful with that as well. And we can talk about that a lot more in the training. Okay. So now we're understanding what the bill rate is going to be for the client. Okay. So here we just put in the candidate's pay rate, and I have a phone like in front of me, so it's hard for me to see all the, hold on a second. Facebook is like right here. There you go. Okay. There we go. So I want you guys to be able to see everything properly. Okay, great. All right. So your bill rate. So the bill rate, typically you want to have a minimum of a 50% markup, a minimum. Well, you maybe 46%, but I say like a 50% markup is really good. So let's look at 220. And where is going on with my numbers? My numbers are not right. I got to pull up my other calculator. Hold on. My numbers are not right, and I want to make sure that my numbers are right. I apologize. Something I did. I don't know what I did. Let me pull the other one up so that I apologize. Don't judge me. CD. You are tripping. Hold on. Any questions while I'm doing this? Any questions? Here we go. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Let me pull this one up. I apologize. Let's see. There we go. Okay, perfect. This is all right. I don't know what happened with that one, but we're gonna move on from that. Okay, good. So now we're gonna go into the contract space. And let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see the screen better. Okay, great. I hope you can see that better. Okay, so we said that it was 141. Let me just make sure. Thank you for being patient with me. You got so many questions, Kev. Okay, so 141. Okay, so let's just do 240. There we go. So that's at a 41% gross profit, markup. That's 29%, which we could do. So this one, we billed the client $240 an hour. The candidate made 141. We had a 20% burden, which is pretty low, depending. But that's what's going into your business, going back into the business and covering the payroll and all of that other stuff. And then, and so your loaded pay rate ends up being $169.20. You end up making $70.80 an hour for every hour this candidate works. So this candidate works 141. You make 70.80 minus the, this is your profit. Okay. This is your profit that you're making. All right. And that's with a very low profit. That's with a gross margin. It's 29%. I like to see around 36%. 43% is the highest, which Robert Half International works with. And then if you hired someone or if you were paying yourself separately, then you could charge like yourself, you can get, 25% that recruiter would make 25% is what the hiring manager would make per hour. Then that means the company would make 35 an hour versus this full 70 because they paid a recruiter $17 an hour and account manager $17 an hour for every hour that they worked, right? As you know, I said that I would probably push that up a little bit more and maybe 270, and that bill rate will probably look somewhere around there, 270. And then it would be $100 an hour bill rate. And then you pay out $25 an hour. Now, granted, that recruiter, if that person works 80 hours of the week or 40 hours a week or 60 hours in a week, they're going to get, at least $2,000, per or $1,000 per week, just off of that one candidate. If you have 5 or 6 candidates with these same numbers, that's crazy. You're talking about $10,000 a week. You see what I'm saying? That the company is making, that's $10,000 a week minus what you paid out. So you see what I'm saying? So it just gets bigger and bigger. You get 15 people on billing to stay like that. And my goal is to keep 15 people on billing. That's a $1.5 million staffing agency right there. You see how you would have to keep those numbers up. You have to create that goal and keep those numbers up, or create relationships with companies that are giving you the types of contracts where they're long-term like that with those high bill rates. And they are out there. Never forget the numbers I shared with you today about the 5 million people 5 million jobs that are 5.8 million jobs that are open, right? So never forget that those opportunities are out there for you, waiting for you. Okay, so that's how the contract works. And you can get a copy of the calculator at a recruitmentstore.com, and if you want, and kind of work with the numbers, and you can see, and it will help you define your niche in greater detail from a financial perspective, as well as a a risk perspective. So keep that in mind. All right. So we looked at permanent, we looked at direct hire. We see the potential that you can make in this industry. We understand why this is a good business to get started in this industry. We understand that the challenges that hiring managers are having, right? So now I'm going to show you how you can do this. How? Okay. So first thing I want you to do, because this is the formula, and I have it in full. I can show you a full model. I'm going to show you the easy, quick steps. I have many different ways you can do this. Okay. But first thing you want to do is research and learn your niche space. Pick one. Pick a niche. We saw so many tonight in the sales and marketing that you had an opportunity to dive into. Take one of those positions and start to see who that person reports to and who reports to that person, and how does their position impact a particular organization, and what other positions support this position, and start creating the 3 positions that you want to recruit for in what area. All right, for what type of company, what type, you see what I'm saying? Start creating your niche, and don't think on it too majorly hard. Put 2-3 days of work into it and full attention, and then make a decision. You shouldn't be trying to figure out a niche for 6 months. That's ridiculous. I've met some people, they're in the business, they've been on here for a year and they're still trying to figure out their niche. No. 3 days max. Okay. Then once you figure out what your niche is, the next thing you want to do is create strategies that will allow you to build networks within your niche so that you can penetrate the market. Never underestimate the grassroots movement. And you are a part of the grassroots movement as a small business niche recruitment and staffing business. Some of you are veteran-owned businesses. Some of you are minority-owned businesses. Some of you are women-owned businesses. You have strengths that you can't even imagine just in who you are. So, we want you to use all of those strengths to penetrate your network, your market, Learn your market, network with people, get out, talk to people, get on the phone, social media, post things, like have a ball. All right. Then once you have a good network, you know some people, and I don't mean 5 people. Okay. I had one lady said, I called 5 people, D. I'm not talking about 5 people. I'm talking 50 people. I'm talking 100 people that you've talked to. You've got them on a rotation schedule. And then that rotation schedule may be for a week from now. It may be from 6 months from now, but often enough for them to remember you. And you're doing something for them. You're providing them with some information, even if it's just to say hi, even if it's just to say it's a sunny day out, enjoy it. You want to communicate on a consistent basis, okay? And then you develop the business. That's when you start going out for sales and business development. Once you have an established market, then you go out and you start developing a business. Now, I have to warn you, okay? I've got to warn you that if you are good at building a network within your niche and penetrating your market, you won't have to develop business hardcore. That market is going to develop the business for you. But that's only if you're good, okay? So you may bypass the develop the new business, and you may go straight to make matches and win. All right? Might be a crazy question, but do you build a network without having recs? Well, that's exactly what I'm saying to you. You definitely want to build a network. Recs are not, that is the gold mine, but you're never going to be able to place everyone that you meet. And if you're going into this business with the idea that every person that you talk to and that you meet, you're going to place, you are, I apologize for hurting your feelings, but it doesn't work that way. And some people you're not even going to be able to place immediately. Some people you won't place for a year or 2, okay? But the more people you know, this is a people business. It is a networking people business. The more people you know and the better they are at what they do, the more valuable you become. So imagine if you just took 30 days, if you was working for someone else and you knew you were starting this business and you took the first 30 days, 7 days a week to reach out to 5 people in your network every day, just candidates, not even hiring managers, just candidates. And that you were going to build a relationship for 30 days with 5 people and you were going to talk to 5 people every day, okay? And just imagine how beneficial that's going to be when you actually get in the door with a client who wants to give you a rec. And we don't call them recs in staffing, we call them job orders, okay? So he wants to give you a job order. Okay, so companies typically, if they're just handing job orders out, they do not care about you. You are not a real partner. You're just somebody else who's calling and they're just giving it to you. I'm just telling you now. A company that you really want to do business with, they're excited about signing the contract with you. Okay, they want to know how soon you can start. They are more communicating with you more openly, more quickly. What else can I say? Those are the people that you really want to keep and do. And it's okay to have people who just throw job orders at you because you could still get wins that way. But the valuable clients are the ones that truly see you and value you as a partner. And that's all. And a lot of that stays that way based on the the relationship and how you guys are giving and taking. Okay, so not a crazy question. Build your network first. If you're a 1 or 2 or 3 man firm doing this from home or doing this, build your network first. Establish a strong niche. Establish one, because then your world of your possibilities for business development will be totally different. Okay, because you're now more valuable than every other staffing agency out there. You've got to understand that niche is your value proposition. Your network is your value proposition. Many people start this niche agency and never think about the clients. They only go for never think about the candidates. They only go for the client. And then they get the job order. And then they're scrambling from scratch trying to figure out how to find this person. But when you have a network, you can send out an email and they'll tell you who the right fit is for that position. You get so many different people. You understand? It's different. It's like, how hard do you want to work in the business? And the niche is going to set you apart. Not only that, you'll get contracts that you never thought you'll get because you'll have a pipeline of something that somebody needs in some big company on some big project that the big agencies can't fill because they don't have a niche, because they don't have a niche market. Whew, I got it. I got excited. All right.